There comes a moment in every man's life when the person you trusted the most becomes the one who cuts you the deepest. And in that moment, you have two choices: drown in heartbreak or rise above it. But here's the twist: when she breaks your heart, don't chase her, don't beg her, don't lose yourself. Instead, break something far more powerful: her ego. Because the ego thrives when you're weak, but it crumbles when you become unstoppable. All right, here's a 700-word expansion of key point ones in the exact motivational speech flow you asked for, with no headings, just seamless delivery. You see, the first mistake most men make when a woman breaks their heart is they start feeding her ego without even realizing it. They cry, they beg, they call late at night, they send long messages trying to explain themselves, trying to fix something that's already broken. And every single one of those actions becomes fuel for her. Because whether you realize it or not, when she sees you suffering, when she sees you unable to function without her, her ego grows. It whispers to her, look how much control you had. Look how much power you still hold. And in that moment, you've handed her the satisfaction of knowing that she's not just walked away from you, she's walked away victorious. But let me tell you something powerful. Pain is not weakness. Pain is simply energy waiting to be redirected. And if you can stop pouring that energy into her ego, you can start channeling it into your growth. The moment you stop feeding her with your pain, the game changes, because silence is louder than desperation. Walking away with composure is stronger than chasing after closure. I want you to think about this. When you stop reacting, when you stop giving her the drama she expects, you take away her favorite weapon, your emotional chaos. She expected you to crumble. She expected you to lose your balance. She expected you to be the one knocking on her door, begging for another chance. And when you don't do it, when you rise up and carry yourself like a man who knows his worth, she feels it. Deep down, her ego begins to crack. Because the one thing ego hates the most is indifference. You've got to understand that heartbreak is not just about losing love, it's about losing control. And the person who walks away wants to keep that control. They want to feel like they still live in your head rent-free. That even when they're gone, your world is revolving around them. But you cannot let them have that satisfaction. Every time you hold back from sending that text, every time you choose to stay silent instead of pleading, every time you focus on your life instead of watching hers, you are breaking her ego piece by piece. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about being cruel. I'm not talking about revenge. I'm talking about discipline. Because discipline in heartbreak is the most powerful form of strength a man can show. Anybody can lash out. Anybody can get angry. Anybody can lose control. But the man who stays calm, the man who stays centered, the man who doesn't allow someone else's rejection to dictate his value, that man is unshakable. And nothing destroys ego faster than facing a man who cannot be manipulated anymore. Imagine this: instead of calling her 100 times, you hit the gym 100 times. Instead of writing paragraphs about how much she hurt you, you write goals about how much you're going to grow. Instead of begging her to notice you, you work so hard that the world can't ignore you. That shift in focus is what starves her ego, because when she looks back and expects to see you broken, and instead she sees you rising, she realizes she no longer holds power over you. That's when the tables turn. Most men don't realize how attractive strength and silence are. They think words fix everything, but silence leaves questions and questions leave cracks. And once cracks appear in someone's ego, their confidence in their decision starts to weaken. You don't need to tell her she made a mistake. She'll feel it when she sees you thriving without her. She'll feel it when she sees you no longer chained to her approval. She'll feel it when she realizes that she was just a chapter in your story, not the whole book. So I'm telling you today, if she broke your heart, don't break yourself trying to fix what's already gone. Break her ego by starving it. Starve it of your tears. Starve it of your attention. Starve it of your validation. Because the moment you stop feeding it is the moment you start feeding your own power. And that's how you win. Not by chasing her, not by proving her wrong, but by showing her that she never had the power to define who you are. When heartbreak hits, it feels like the end of the world. It feels like your chest has been ripped open and your future has been stolen and everything you believed in has crumbled. And in that pain, the temptation is always to sit in the dark, to drown in regret, to replay the memories over and over until they poison your mind. But here's the truth: rejection is not the end. It's the beginning of reinvention. Because what breaks you doesn't have to define you. It can be the very thing that remakes you. Think about it. Every time you've been hurt, every time you've been told you weren't good enough, every time someone walked away from you, it pushed you to one of two paths. Either you allowed it to destroy you, or you allowed it to push you into becoming stronger. Heartbreak is no different. When she broke your heart, she handed you something priceless: fuel. It's painful fuel, yes, but it's fuel that can be transformed into fire if you choose to use it the right way. Most men make the mistake of letting heartbreak define their identity. They wake up and feel like they're not worth anything. They let one person's choice become the measurement of their value. But what if instead of asking, why me, you asked, what now? What if instead of collapsing, you used the pain as a reason to rise? Because the pain is not there to bury you. It's there to wake you up. It's there to remind you that you still have more to give, more to build, more to become. Rejection can be the ultimate redirection. Sometimes life removes people from your path because you were meant to walk a different one. Sometimes heartbreak is not punishment, it's preparation. Preparation for the version of yourself you were always meant to meet. The question is, will you stay stuck in who you were, or will you embrace the chance to become who you were meant to be? Let me paint this picture for you. Imagine the energy you're wasting scrolling through her social media, wondering who she's with, wishing she would come back. Now imagine channeling that exact energy into learning a new skill, building your body, elevating your mindset, chasing goals that you've been putting off for years. Imagine every drop of pain being redirected into progress. Instead of letting it crush you, you let it sculpt you. Instead of drowning in it, you let it lift you. That's what transformation looks like. You see, the greatest revenge is not proving her wrong. The greatest revenge is proving yourself right. It's showing up every single day with discipline, with fire, with purpose, until the reflection in the mirror no longer looks like a man broken, but a man reborn. The body she left is not the body you'll end with. The mind she underestimated is not the mind you'll live with. The life she walked away from is not the life you'll settle for. This isn't about pretending the pain doesn't exist. It's about using the pain as proof that you're alive, proof that you're capable of more, proof that you are ready to evolve. Because heartbreak is energy, and energy can't be destroyed. It can only be transferred. And the choice is yours. Will you transfer it into self-pity, or will you transfer it into power? The men who win in life are not the ones who never get hurt. They are the ones who turn hurt into hunger. Hunger to grow, hunger to rise, hunger to create something greater than the pain that tried to destroy them. That's the path in front of you right now. She may have broken your heart, but she also gave you the spark you needed to build something unshakable. So don't waste this moment mourning what's gone. Use it as the foundation for what's coming. Because rejection is not the end. It's the raw material of reinvention. And the man you become after this heartbreak will make you grateful she walked away. One of the most powerful shifts you'll ever make after heartbreak is realizing that the real battle isn't about her at all. It's about you. Because heartbreak tricks you into thinking the other person still holds the power. It makes you believe that if only they came back, if only they apologized, if only they noticed your pain, then you'd feel whole again. But the truth is, the moment you start prioritizing your own self-worth, everything changes. The dynamic flips instantly. You stop being the man who chases approval and start becoming the man who commands respect. Here's the mistake most men make. They place their value in someone else's hands. They let her approval be the measuring stick of their confidence. If she validates them, they feel strong. If she rejects them, they collapse. That's not love, that's dependency. And dependency is the very thing that keeps her ego fed while leaving you drained. But when you shift your focus back onto yourself, when you decide that your worth is not determined by anyone else's opinion, you break the cycle. You no longer play the game of chasing validation because you've already validated yourself. Think about it. A man who knows his worth doesn't beg for attention, doesn't chase what walked away, doesn't lower his standards just to be accepted. A man who knows his worth understands that not everyone is meant to stay, and not every rejection is a loss. Sometimes it's just protection from something that wasn't meant to serve him. And that mindset is what dismantles her ego. Because her ego thrives on the belief that you can't move without her, that you can't breathe without her, that your happiness still belongs to her. But when you prove, not with words, but with your actions, that your life is thriving without her, that your joy comes from within, her ego has nothing left to hold on to. The shift of power happens the moment you stop needing her to validate who you are. That's when you become untouchable. And listen, it's not about arrogance. It's about alignment. It's about living in such a way that you know your value with or without anyone's presence. When you start building yourself, investing in yourself, growing in ways that make you proud to look in the mirror, you take back all the leverage you once gave away. You see, power in relationships doesn't belong to the person who loves the least. That's a lie. Real power belongs to the person who loves themselves enough not to tolerate being treated less than they deserve. And when you get to that point, when you truly understand that your worth is not negotiable, something shifts in you. You stop chasing, you stop pleading, you stop playing small. And in doing so, you take back every ounce of power you thought you lost. Now, let me be clear. This isn't about punishing her. This isn't about proving anything to her. This is about proving something to yourself. Because when you realize you were always enough, when you finally recognize that your happiness does not hinge on anyone else's presence, you walk differently, you talk differently, you carry yourself with a confidence that cannot be faked. And that confidence is magnetic. That confidence attracts opportunities. It attracts growth. And yes, it even attracts people who recognize your value without you having to scream for it. This is the paradox. You don't actually break her ego by trying to tear her down. You break it by rising so high that she no longer has access to you. You break it by building yourself up in ways she never expected. You break it by refusing to hand her the power of defining who you are. Because the moment you make yourself the priority, the moment you put your own growth, your own happiness, your own purpose first, she realizes something she never expected. She didn't break you. She built you. And that realization that you turned heartbreak into strength, that you turned rejection into self-respect. That's the moment her ego shatters. When heartbreak strikes, the first instinct most men have is to let their emotions run wild. They shout, they cry, they send impulsive messages, they vent to anyone who will listen. And in those moments, what they don't realize is that every outburst, every display of loss of control is giving away their power. It's showing her in the world that she still dictates their state of mind. But the truth is, the strongest weapon you have after heartbreak isn't anger, it isn't revenge, it isn't even moving on fast. It's emotional discipline. Because the man who can master his emotions in his darkest hour becomes unbreakable. See, there's a difference between feeling pain and being consumed by it. You can feel it without letting it control you. You can acknowledge it without letting it dictate your actions. Emotional discipline doesn't mean pretending you're not hurting. It means refusing to let the hurt make your choices for you. And that right there is where the power shift happens, because she might have expected you to lose yourself, to spiral, to crumble without her. But when you remain steady, when you remain composed, when you carry yourself with dignity instead of desperation, it shakes her ego in ways anger never could. People expect drama after heartbreak. They expect chaos. They expect shouting matches, late night calls, and desperate attempts to fix what's broken. But nothing dismantles expectations like calm silence. Imagine this: instead of blowing up her phone, you don't reach out at all. Instead of bammothing her, you speak nothing of her. Instead of showing the world how broken you feel, you show the world how focused you've become. That level of control doesn't just protect your peace, it disarms her ego, because ego feeds on reaction, and when there's no reaction to feed on, it starves. Think about how powerful it is to stand in the middle of pain and not let it dictate who you are, to feel the weight of betrayal or rejection and still walk with your head high. That is strength. That is discipline. And that is the kind of energy that not only breaks her ego, but elevates your entire life. Because once you learn to control yourself in heartbreak, you realize you can control yourself in anything. Business, friendships, setbacks, challenges, suddenly nothing outside of you has the power to unbalance you. I want you to remember this emotion is temporary, but the choices you make in those emotions can leave permanent marks. A message sent in desperation, a fight started in anger, a decision made in pain. Those things linger long after the feeling fades. That's why discipline matters. It's not about pretending you're unaffected. It's about protecting yourself from making decisions you'll regret when the storm passes. Because storms always pass. But the man who kept his composure during the storm, he comes out stronger, sharper, and more respected. This is where you rise above, not with arrogance, not with vengeance, but with composure. Nothing will shake someone's ego more than realizing they no longer have the power to shake you. That's what emotional discipline does. It takes you from being reactive to being untouchable. And the moment you become untouchable, the moment you no longer let emotions dictate your worth or your actions, you win, not just against her ego, but against every challenge life throws at you. So let the world expect you to break. Let her ego expect you to chase. Let everyone expect you to drown in emotion. And then do the opposite. Stay calm, stay composed, stay disciplined. Because control isn't just power, it's freedom. And nothing breaks an ego faster than realizing it has no control over you. When most men go through heartbreak, their first reaction is to fight back in some way. They want to prove a point, to show her she was wrong, to make her feel the same pain they felt. But that's not where the real power lies. The truth is, you don't break her ego by trying to hurt her back. You break it by rising so far above the situation that she realizes she no longer has any hold on you. And nothing bruises the ego more than realizing you no longer care. Indifference is louder than anger. Anger still means you're connected. Anger still means you're reacting to her, that her presence and choices still have weight in your life. But when you've truly let go, when you no longer feel the need to prove anything, when her name no longer brings out chaos inside you, that's when her ego begins to crumble. Because ego feeds on importance, and nothing makes someone question themselves more than realizing they've lost significance in your world. Imagine she expects you to hate her to talk about her, to carry her memory like a wound that never heals. That's the script her ego writes. But when you're not bitter, when you're not chasing, when you're not wasting energy proving anything, she's forced to face a truth that ego can't stand. You've outgrown her. You've moved forward. And the one thing ego can't survive is becoming irrelevant. This isn't about revenge. It's about evolution. Revenge keeps you tethered to the past. Evolution frees you from it. By rising above, you send a message without ever speaking. You are no longer a factor in my story. And that message carries more weight than any insult, any argument, any attempt to wound her back. Because what hurts the ego most is not being attacked. It's being forgotten. Think about it. The people who have hurt you the most don't lose sleep over your anger, but they feel the sting when they realize they no longer cross your mind. When your silence is louder than any outburst, when your progress overshadows the pain they caused, that's when the ego feels its deepest cut. And the beauty of this approach is that it doesn't just dismantle her ego, it rebuilds you. Because every step you take forward, every goal you accomplish, every ounce of peace you create is proof that you've risen beyond what tried to break you. There's a maturity in not needing to match her energy. She may expect chaos, but you offer calm. She may expect bitterness, but you offer indifference. She may expect you to collapse, but instead you rise. And when you choose to rise, you're not just breaking her ego, you're freeing yourself. Because indifference doesn't just cut her off, it releases you from the chains of carrying her in your heart and mind. The truth is the greatest statement you can make is not with words, but with your life. You don't have to tell her you've moved on. She'll see it when you glow differently. You don't have to announce that you're stronger. It'll show in how steady you stand. You don't have to scream that you're happier. Your peace will speak for itself. And nothing destroys ego faster than watching someone live beautifully without you. So don't waste time plotting how to hurt her back. Don't waste energy trying to outdo her. Don't waste your life chasing validation from someone who walked away. Instead, use that time and energy to elevate yourself so high that she can't even reach you anymore. Because when you rise above, you don't just win, you become untouchable. And nothing breaks an ego faster than realizing it no longer matters. Heartbreak has a way of making you feel like your story is over, like the best chapters have already been written, and now all that's left is loss. But what if I told you that heartbreak isn't the ending? It's the introduction to a new beginning. Because in every heartbreak, there's an invitation to rebuild, to rediscover, to rewrite the kind of man you want to be. And that is where legacy begins. See, most people look at heartbreak as a setback, something that steals time, steals energy, steals years from their life. But if you shift the perspective, heartbreak can become the very thing that gives you time back because it wakes you up from comfort zones you were never meant to stay in. It shakes you. It forces you to confront who you really are and who you're becoming. And in that pain, if you choose, you can find purpose. Think about the greatest men in history, the ones whose names echo beyond their lifetime. They didn't rise in times of ease. They rose from trials, from rejection, from moments where they were told they weren't enough. Pain became the soil where greatness grew. Heartbreak can be that soil for you. It can be the turning point where you stop living as the man who seeks validation and start living as the man who builds his vision. When she broke your heart, she may have taken a piece of your past, but she cannot dictate your future. That belongs to you. And this is where you get to decide, will this be the moment that defines your downfall, or will it be the moment that launches your rise? Because the truth is, heartbreak is raw energy. It's intense, it's consuming, it's powerful. And if you learn to channel it, you can use it to construct something unshakable. Every hour you once spent thinking about her can now be invested in building yourself. Every ounce of emotion that went into longing can now be poured into growth. Every sleepless night can become time spent mapping out goals, crafting your vision, strengthening your spirit. The same passion that once went into holding on can go into leveling up. That's how heartbreak becomes the foundation of your legacy. And here's the beautiful part. When you rise from heartbreak, you don't just rise for yourself, you rise for everyone who's watching you. Because someone out there is going to see your strength and draw strength for themselves. Someone is going to look at your story and realize they don't have to stay broken either. And that's what legacy is. It's not just about what you build, it's about who you inspire while building it. The pain you're carrying right now has the power to echo long after it's gone. If you allow it to shape you instead of destroy you, you can become the man who turned his darkest moment into his brightest fire. You can become the example of resilience, the proof that heartbreak doesn't end a man. It forges him. And years from now, when people look at you, they won't see the man who was broken. They'll see the man who refused to stay down, the man who transformed pain into power, the man who built something so strong that no rejection could erase it. That's what it means to turn heartbreak into legacy. It means you stop asking, why did this happen to me? and start declaring, this happened for me, for my growth, for my evolution, for the story I was meant to live. You stop seeing her as the one who broke you and start seeing her as the one who unintentionally awakened you. So don't waste this moment. Don't let the pain go unused. Build something from it. Build yourself. Build your future. Build the life that proves not only to her, but to yourself that the heartbreak wasn't the end. It was the very beginning of your legacy. And that's how you rise beyond the pain, by turning it into a story worth remembering. Brothers, at the end of the day, heartbreak will test you in ways nothing else can. It will strip you bare, expose your weaknesses, and challenge your identity. But within that pain lies your greatest opportunity, the chance to rise, to rebuild, and to become a man stronger than the one who first fell in love. When she breaks your heart, don't give her the satisfaction of breaking you. Don't let her ego feed on your pain. Instead, use that moment to ignite your reinvention, to reclaim your self-worth, to rise above her expectations, and to carve out a legacy so powerful that the heartbreak becomes a footnote in your story, not the headline. The truth is, she may have thought she ended you, but in reality, she awakened you. And the man you become after this will stand as proof that heartbreak doesn't destroy kings, it forges them.